The latest challenges to Obamacare ahead of the next big rollout to the sweeping health care law. The administration may have postponed the employer mandate, but one really big employer is wasting no time, citing Obamacare as the reason. One of them, it will restrict some health care benefits. As we told you last hour, UPS says it will drop health care coverage for most of its employees' spouses. This comes on the heels of a new report revealing the administration has missed 50% of its Obamacare implementation deadlines. Let's talk about it. Kirsten Powers is a Daily Beast columnist and Fox News contributor. Ben Shapiro is a syndicated columnist and editor-at-large for Breitbart News. Welcome to you both.
Hi.
Thanks. All right, Kirsten, I'll start with you. I mean, there are a number of times that key pieces of the legislation have been delayed. There are all kinds of other issues bubbling up about there's a law that the security IT infrastructure has to be secured before the exchanges open. The deadline now is going to be the day before the exchanges open. There are all kinds of issues coming up. By the administration's own admission, is it time to delay the whole thing?
Well, look. This is a huge government program, as many conservatives like to point out all the time, and it's going to take a lot of work to implement it. And I don't think it's that surprising that there are some hiccups and some delays. If you go back and look at Medicare, when Medicare was first being started, they had a lot of problems with it, getting it implemented, and now it's one of the most popular programs that the government runs. So I do see a lot of this is just being almost expected, and it's something that can be seized upon by conservatives for sure, but I don't think it means that Obamacare isn't going to be successful.
Ben, are you fear-mongering?
Oh, am I fear-mongering? I mean, Obamacare is designed to fail. I mean, the whole point of it is to bankrupt the health insurance companies and to make it unworkable for individuals as well as employers. And the predictable effects are being seen across the economy right now. When it does, in fact, fail, then there will be calls for more government involvement. There will be calls for a public option. There will be calls for full-scale single payer. So that's really what it's designed to do. And while Medicare may be running better than it did when it first started up, the idea that Medicare is some sort of panacea of bureaucratic competence is a fiction.
Well, yeah, Kirsten, I mean, there are major problems with the financial underpinnings of Social Security and other, massive government programs out there. So is that the best example to cite for this thing actually getting on the right track?
Well, financial issues about Social Security is not the same thing as what I just said. I said, first of all, I brought up Medicare, not Social Security. And second of all, those are more broad structural issues about having enough people to pay into it, things that actually could be fixed with some minor fixes if Congress could get together and actually do something. So my point was that it's in the beginning there were a lot of glitches in getting it up and running, and that a lot of people were speaking very negatively about it. And now I think most people do like Medicare. I didn't say it was a perfect program. I just think most people find it to be a popular program.
Well, and Ben, is that, to Kirsten's point, is this just simply a fact of, like, when you have a major overhaul of any type of of law like this, and it's a huge chunk of the U.S. economy, is it going to have fits and starts? Are there ways to fix it? Better to focus on fixing it than to trying to repeal the entire thing? What's your take?
Well, the problem is that it's perverted the entire incentive structure. My wife is a student at UCLA Medical School, and I can tell you that there are many doctors, would-be doctors, who would go into the business but are not now going to do so, and are already looking at the bureaucracy associated with both Medicare and with Obamacare and saying to themselves, well, why don't I just go into private practice totally and reject both Medicare and insurance programs? That is the big gaping hole in Obamacare, is that they can't force doctors to work within the system. And as it continues, we're going to see a tremendous shortage of medical care, not health insurance, medical care in this country.
Well, and that is a concern, and there are those, we have a lot of recent surveys, Kirsten, where doctors say that they're confused, they don't even understand exactly how the whole thing's going to work, they're worried about how it's going to impact their, promises, or their practices, and there are a lot of medical students or people who would be medical students out there who report they specifically aren't going to medical school because of this. Your response?
I don't really understand how, I mean, first of all, yeah, there is confusion. I think people are still trying to be, the administration's still trying to educate people about the program, and frankly, they haven't done that great of a job in terms of.
They've spent a lot of money, though.
Explaining to people. Yeah, I mean, they haven't done the best job on that. But I don't, I can't speak to whether somebody's not going to go to medical school because of Obamacare, because it doesn't really make sense. I don't. The exchanges that are going to be set up it's an idea that came out of the Heritage Foundation. I mean, this is not some radical socialist idea. So why the existence of exchanges is going to cause someone to change the complete trajectory of their life? I really can't speak to that.
Well, okay, so let's talk about this. The exchanges are set to open up October 1st. That's the plan. There is a law that requires the security infrastructure, the IT, the computer base of this whole thing to be certified as safe, impenetrable, all those good things. They have repeatedly pushed back the deadlines for testing that. It now is coming on September 30th that they're planning to certify whether or not this thing is ready to go the day before the exchanges. Ben, do you see any possible complications there?
Just a few. I mean, the fact is that bureaucratic incompetence, as well as the just tremendous size of this new bureaucracy, means that this is not going to be implemented on time. But what the Obama administration has done quite cleverly from a political point of view is if the thing fails, then that creates incentive for more government involvement. And if the thing succeeds, then that creates incentive for more government involvement. So either way, the Obama administration or whoever succeeds them is going to see this as an opportunity to grow the government's involvement in Medicare and in Obamacare as well. As far as the incentives for doctors and medical students, the fact is that we're not just talking about medical exchanges. We're talking about lowered rates as time goes on in terms of reimbursements from medical insurance companies. We're talking about medical insurance companies not even entering the exchanges. A couple of the biggest medical insurers in California have already said they can't participate in the exchanges. If this were just exchanges, this would be far less controversial than it actually is.
Kirsten, final word to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to take an argument seriously when you're claiming that the Obama administration's only motive is to basically destroy health care in America. You know, I'll posit another idea. I think it may be that there are people who would like to see the issues in our healthcare system addressed and for people to have health insurance. I think that actually was the motivation of the Obama administration. Now, whether it's executed perfectly is a separate issue, but I don't think that they're trying to destroy the system, you know, and fail. I mean, that just seems absurd to me.
Well, there are a lot of questions.
They're trying to transform the system.
Right, and there are a lot of questions about that. When you have, you know, the top Democrat, the leader of the Senate, saying himself that he thinks the whole idea is to move towards a single-payer system, you have to ask that question.